Having trouble with your garage door? Problem solved. Call Direct Service Overhead Garage Door Company. We're your go-to team for garage door repair, new garage doors, openers, and more. We offer same-day service. We're always ready when you need us. Best of all, you can book your appointment online or talk to a live operator 24/7. No machines, no waiting. So whether it's a broken spring or a brand new garage door, trust the local experts at Direct Service Garage Doors. Call us today or visit directserviceoverhead.com.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome. Hope you guys are all doing, great. It's, we had a little, of course, we had a little technical difficulty. The OBS, the online broadcast software that I use, had this, it for whatever reason, it went live and then it paused and acted like it was going to crash. So hopefully you got a notification. There might have been communication between OBS and the YouTube studio. Maybe they weren't on the same page. Regardless, we're here now. So do me a favor, if you haven't already, make sure you like, share, and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. So yeah, I do appreciate you guys being here. Shout out to July Patreon winners. We've got all the cards are shipped off for the month of July. You guys are tagging me in Discord. Who's getting those cards? Who's finally receiving their card? I say finally, they're getting there pretty quick. There's only 2 people I'm waiting on. I'm waiting to hear back from on their shipping, on their mailing address. Andrew Gerard, who won the Nick Smith. This is a pretty cool card. Greetings from Charlotte card. Let that light. So that goes to that belongs to Andrew Gerard. So if anybody knows him, or if he's in chat, or if he's watching this later, let me know. And then Doug Stubbs, man, you've got 2 or 3 cards that I got to get shipped to you. That's Billy Richmond. These are the $8. If you're an $8 status member or an $8 club member, we had 3 winners for this month. So legendary status, they get autographed cards. They get autographed former Arkansas cards. Hey, what's going on, everybody in chat? It looks like it's filling up. I don't know. It never fails. YouTube, one way or another, likes to get in my way. Never fails. This is Monday Night Lights live. God, still can't say that once, let alone 5 times fast. We've got a lot to talk about. You can see it on the screen, but we've got even more. I'm sure this is going to kind of be all over the place a little bit tonight. It is a solo show, hoping to get Tim back next week, hopefully. We have an update on Travis. He is probably stepping away from Monday Night Lights for a while. He's just swamped and unable to make it, unable to do these. So, but we do appreciate him. We love our guy, Travis. So yeah, again, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we do have a poll. Defense, will it be better? Defense will be better in 2025? 67% of you say yes. 33% of you say no. So take the poll, man. Get in here and check it out. Kid's got football practice, y'all. Yeah, he's got stuff going on, man. Are they giving you a hard time in chat, Travis? He's a busy man. He's running a business and he's got his kids. He's got stuff going on. Tim is just unavailable. His work kind of kicked his ass today, but you know what? That's cool. We're gonna make this work. Make sure you guys again retweet the actual Tusk Talk page on Twitter. By the way, we reopened Facebook, except it's no longer, it's a brand new, it's a group. It's an open group. Anybody can go there and post on Facebook. So I don't know. There's a lot of people in Discord that are in there and some other folks. So if you want to join, check it out. We're posting some pretty good stuff. But we just started yesterday. I think we just hit 80 members, I think. So go check that out. We'll drop some stuff there. And because there's more people running it, instead of just me running a single account like I had, a while back, that thing blew up. I mean, we hit, I don't remember what what we were at when I wasn't even posting. I should have stuck with it, and I don't know. I deleted it. So we got a new one. It's completely open. Look at Kerper sharing the Facebook. Look at that in live chat. Man, oh man. Ty posting foot pics on Facebook group. You son of a bitch. Well, if he's not roasting me with his AI memes in Discord, he's coming at me in my own live chat. Love it. All right, let's get started. Okay, I think I've covered everything. Yeah, we'll segue. Let's kick it off, baby. I'm gonna light my cigar up here in just a minute. And I'm drinking some sugar-free. You guys, Ninja, they make all kinds of, they make like an ice cream maker and all this stuff. We've got the Ninja Thirst machine, and it makes this sugar-free, I don't know, it's like orange juice. It's delicious once it hits the lips, All right, let's talk about this. Are the Razorbacks in trouble? Now, I said a while back, hell, probably not even that long ago, that I felt pretty good about the depth of the defensive line. Now, just in terms of having quality depth, and we know the pass rush, I'm not real big on the pass rush side of things, but I'm talking about like the interior part of the defense. And, the more you think about it, the more you really dig in on that depth chart, I do think before we got this latest news on a certain player who is getting some love, by the way, according to one NFL. He's I think he's an amateur scout. I'm not really sure. I had his tweet pulled up a little while ago, but he's got him as his third favorite defensive tackle in available for the draft this year. I want to find this really quick and get it's Ryan Roberts, and he's quote tweeting. This is back on August 14th. And this is to the Ryzen Draft. That's the guy's actual Twitter name. It's Ryzen Draft, but his name is Ryan Roberts. And someone tweeted at him about his original tweet, which is 2026 NFL Draft questions. Let's chat. Someone asked him his top 3 defensive tackles. He's got Peter Woods at Clemson. Okay, all right. Okay, interesting, right? Caleb Banks at Florida. A reason why people think pretty highly of Florida is because of what's going on the defensive line. And David Oakey at Arkansas. Yeah, that's right. The transfer out of Abilene Christian. And we were very critical. Myself, I think Tim and Travis and I talked about this. I know you guys talked about it in the live chat when we were going through the portal. And I monitor the portal quite a bit. Anyone who's been a Patreon member and they're in that Discord and they're paying attention to the targets and to the commitments, I do a ton of research on each player. And one of my criticisms was I know they're all in on David Oakey, but oh my God, like they got to add some more pieces. Now, as we got through spring camp, it sounded like, okay, listen, maybe they're pretty good here. And when you think about that defensive line depth, you've got Cam Ball, Ian Gerard, who Ian off and on, from what I understand, had a pretty solid, was pretty good. I think he's dealt with some injury stuff. Then you had Matial Lee. Right there's 3 guys. I can't remember the last time going into fall camp excited about 3 guys. And then we're hearing about David Oakey, who might be one of the strongest players on this team. One source telling me he is the strongest player on the team, then another telling me, you got to look at, some of the other guys on the offensive line, but the David Oakey's in there. I've also read and heard and talked to some folks who said David Oakey certainly had some days where he got dominated and he struggled. But this Ryan Roberts guy, again, go follow him. I would share my screen, but I'm a little nervous to at the moment. But he tweeted he's his third favorite defensive tackle. Now, this is not him suggesting he's a first-round draft pick necessarily. Well, maybe. I don't know. The quote tweet is top 3 defensive tackles. So David Oakey is, he's going to miss some time. Here's Sam.
Well, I was just going to say, like, with Oakey out, you feel a little thin. I know you got 3 freshmen, but you feel a little bit thin.
Hell yeah. Sure do.
Okay, tell me really quick. Tell me if you guys can hear that or not. I don't know if you can hear it. Last time we did this, can you guys hear that? I want to give you guys a second to catch up. On live chat. Okay, you can hear it. Great. Awesome. Okay. We've had this issue with OBS where these don't play. Here we go. Or where you guys can't hear them.
And so we may have to look at, may have to look at somebody else, and we'll figure that out by Monday. But we believe in our young freshmen. We do. Whether they're ready or not right now, we've got to go have a honest conversation about that, which we already have. So we need another big over there and a guy that's a veteran. So we'll have to figure that one out between now and Monday.
Okay, you guys are saying that Sam said, and this is true, Sam said that I think it was 1 to 2 weeks. And we're actually going to play some more Sam Pittman later, some stuff that he said from the second scrimmage. Yeah, listen, Sam is not always correct. I don't know if this is a meniscus. I don't know what this is. Of course, they're never going to tell us because, of course, they're not. I don't know a ton. I've seemed to recall the meniscus being something that you could be out with for a few weeks. And if this is new, if this is something that just happened, I'm not sure that it's just going to be 2 games. I typically when Sam, and I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about this because sometimes – he will talk a lot about, the injuries just in terms of maybe who's hurt, but he kind of undershoots the amount of time. I seem to remember there was a defensive back. No, well, it was the drama with, someone that transferred off certain player who would have been a baller here this year. But it is what it is. He couldn't really, and at first I think he reported that it was an injury. So in other words, I hope I don't want to put words in his mouth. Maybe he wasn't with Braxton, but I swear in the beginning it was an injury. But anyways, it's nothing new with Sam to, when you talk about over under in terms of like how long will a player be out, he's going to always, it seems like he's always under. I hope he's right. God, could you imagine if it was just 1 game? Okay, no big deal. I don't know how to feel about that. I don't think it is just 1 game. At bare minimum, it's 2, and I'll tell you why that's not good, because David Oki, who's, again, one of your strongest players on the defensive line, is now he's going to miss how many weeks of practice, and then you're going to ask him to come in the 3rd week of the game or third game of the week, and what, just like that, he's going to turn it on. And here's another thing to keep in mind. Oki was not a starter, but he is a key rotator. He is a key depth chart piece. He struggled at times. I think he operated with the 3s and the 2s. But again, he's an essential piece when you talk about that rotation. And here's the other thing why this could be an issue. They want to be able to run multiple fronts up front on the defensive line. Man, that's going to be awfully hard to do if you're without Oki. He's sitting here. Sam is sitting here saying we're going to have to move guys over. They want to run 4 fronts. They want to have that option. With him out and with Pittman talking about flipping, and I've heard the names of people they might flip. I've heard everything from a defensive end, moving them inside, to an offensive lineman. I've heard every name you guys have discussed in Discord. I've already heard this. I'm not going to say anything on that, but that is problematic when you have 1 injury and you're talking about having to move positions and just get a big boy in there to fill that spot. Now, keep in mind, this is an interior spot. Some of the names, it's all about leverage in the interior. Okay. Anyone who played junior high football, that, right? They were teaching us that with the 7th grade, the Fayetteville Packers. When I was playing center for 7th grade Packers, this was something they're teaching you. It's all about, it's about that first step, and it's about getting leverage on the guy in front of you, getting lower than the guy in front of you. I'm not really a big fan of these 6'5", 6'6" nose tackles. Not a fan. Not to say that they don't work out in the NFL, but it just seems like more times than not, the key recipe is a guy that's like 6'2", 6'3", and he's pushing, 300 plus, 320, 345, and he's bench pressing, the back end of a Cadillac. And I don't know, with some of the names that are mentioned there, that I'm super in love with the possibility of those guys getting shifted over. So this means if Oki's injury, I don't know, again, I'm not saying it is meniscus, so don't quote me on that. That's just something that's been thrown out. Someone was texting me about that earlier today, and this is someone who tends to pay attention to injuries quite a bit. So I don't know, man. It's a little bit concerning if he's going to miss more than even just 2 weeks for me is like, damn, and that's also, it's very telling that here we go again, right? Like, and I'm not trying to dump on Pittman here, but man, they just should have added at least a couple more guys on that defensive line. Offensive line, I think they did a pretty good job. Like, I feel pretty confident in what they're doing there, and we're going to talk about them too here in a minute. But this could be a problem. And if one injury, I mean, we're talking about one guy who's not even a starter. Again, he's a key rotator, and that is something to not ignore at all. But and you're talking about having to move bodies. And you saw Sam's face there, and when Trey Biddy asked that question, he was like, "Oh man," you could see it on his face. He's like, "Yeah, no, we're in trouble there, guys. That's not good." And this is very telling that I think this could, if this is the case, we're not even in the season yet. This is one injury. We're not talking about 2-3 guys banged up and not playing at all or not participating in practice. We're talking about one guy that may only miss 2 weeks. And Pittman's like, "Oh damn. Yeah, we should have done." Yeah, I'm sure in his head he's thinking we should have done better in the portal. But it is what it is. It's too late now. But does this mean, like long term? What does this do? Listen, maybe you get and this is something else I want to talk about. Maybe you get one of those freshmen, and we heard Coach Williams talk about, well, we kind of like our freshmen or whatever, but we're not hearing names. Like, I don't know, the 4-star you picked up, not far from the Mississippi. The 4-star defensive tackle, like, this is a guy whose name has not been mentioned at all. And if you're talking about needing to switch people over, I know he's a freshman. I think he's just now 18, maybe he's 19, but he's never played in at this level. I get that, but man, sometimes freshmen just need to step up. That's a tough position to step up at. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. But we're not hearing about Otis. We're not hearing about some of the other guys. We're not hearing about some of the other guys that have been here for a couple of years. Like, I don't know, man. This is just a. I was pretty critical on the defense last year, and then the offseason with the portal, I thought they should have done better. Now, again, with what I thought they were getting out of Otis, with Okie, who was, listen, people wanted him out of Abilene Christian. This is not like Arkansas was his only offer. I can guarantee you that. There were some other big schools that were involved. He was a pretty big target for the Razorbacks and for other schools. With Cam Ball, with Ian Jaffrard, Montiel Soli, I felt pretty good about what was going on in the interior. But then watching Pittman's reaction today really has me I don't know. You guys tell me, am I overreacting? Like, we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. We're going to be fine. Now, here we go. This is the thing that the Discord people are waiting on. And for those of you who are watching this after the fact, you're watching it, you're not here live. We have our question of the day for each video that we do, for each live show that we do. And if you screenshot it and share it, it's in Discord. Make sure you tag me. And I don't know, feel free to do it on the Facebook page too. I don't care. But again, we're going to do what we did last week because this is kind of defensive focus for a little bit. We're going to shift to the offense here in a minute. Also, I'm very excited about what's happening here in a good way. And maybe I'm way more pessimistic about the defense. And when you guys ask me, where are you at with this team? I'm like, the first place my mind goes to, it's the defense. It's like, oh man, I don't know about the back end of the secondary. I don't know about, now I'm very concerned about the defensive line. I don't know where the pass rush is going to come from if it's not coming from Rhodes. I know they've mentioned some other names, Phillip Lee. You've got the other transfers there. But here's the question. It is, again, we're doing what we did last week. We're going to go off the pole here. And here we go. Defense will be better in 2025. I want you, after the live show's over with, tell me yes or no, and then feel free to give me the reasons why. Whether it's depth chart, maybe you're like me. You're like, man, I don't know, that defensive line, I've got issues. The secondary, maybe all this height and size that they have in the secondary might be just something that's just a talking point, nothing more. Like, where's the talent at, right? And I think, listen, they got pieces. Make no mistake about it. But I understand the skepticism there with the secondary. But that is the question. Once again, we're doing what we did last week. It is the poll for the day. So again, feel free to answer the question in live chat, but also feel free to toss that over if you're watching this after the live show. But I do want to hear from you guys. And Michael Kerper says, I felt I feel good after T. Will presser regarding linebackers and secondary. Yeah, he's not bringing up the defensive line though, right? Like where you're looking there, and I agree with you. It's good to hear him talk about that. I know they're really big on the size of the secondary, but again, like there's no mentioning of Cam Ball. There's no mentioning of Ian Jaffard. We've not heard. Maybe I missed it, but we've not heard anything about Otis, the 4-star defensive tackle. We're not hearing a ton about the 4-star linebacker they picked up, although they're so deep there. That's kind of understandable. Ty forgets who's coaching our secondary, though. This is Johnny Jones. I'm very well aware of who's coaching the secondary. I do like what I'm hearing about Lee, by the way. I do like what I'm hearing about Lee. Again, defense. This is the poll. There's a lot of people in here. Make sure you like the stream. I saw that we had a super chat. I'll read that here in just a second. Make sure you like the show. Hit the subscribe button if you're new here, and tap the notification bell. But that is the poll. And so right now, defense will be better. You guys are at 56% yes. 56%. So again, post live show. I want you to leave that comment down below, and if you're in our Discord, screenshot it and tag me, and you'll get some XP. How about that? Peanut Butter Posse says it could be worse. Could have a roster like Kentucky. I haven't looked at Kentucky at all this year. I've only been looking at Arkansas's opponents. By the way, next week hopefully we get Tim back on for Monday Night Lights next week, assuming he's available. We will talk about our predictions. Now, I haven't made up my mind if I'm going to do a game by game or if I'm going to give you a where I think they're at as far as territory, where they could be. I'm glad I waited because, again, we're finding out. Listen, it's not brand new news to me that the defensive line isn't super deep. I thought they had some quality depth there, but I don't know, you know. And then we're learning more about Monty Harrison. We're learning about Crutchfield. You know, he's worked his way up. He's working with he went from not being with the 3s really at all to the 3s all the way up to the 2s. Same with Antonio Jordan, the freshman out of Warren. So there's some positive things there, but there's so many questions. It's why I haven't released the depth chart in Discord. I've been asked that several times. AJ Green, he did play defensive back in high school, and in fact, if I remember right, he was offered. That feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it? With Green, who transferred to Oklahoma State, now he's back. But I seem to remember he was offered to play defensive back. Very very Joe Adams-ish type of comparison there. Let me read this super chat really quick. I apologize. I am Prue. What's up, man? Hope you're doing well. Again, I wish I could put these on the screen. In your opinion, our biggest issue last year with defense, pass rush, secondary for sure, but a big lack of any kind of a pass rush. There was no identity there. That was a big problem. I mean, they just couldn't get after anybody. It was, I want to say they finished like bottom 5 in TFLs. And, yeah, they were bottom of the league in sacks and quarterback hurries. Like, it was, this is, to me, no matter what happens, if Pittman, and I know we bring this up every time, but if Pittman survives and, the defense doesn't improve, they're as bad as they were last year, or somehow they take a step back. Remember, the run defense wasn't terrible. But I think also teams figured out, we can just throw the ball on these guys. But if they have another, a year where they don't take any kind of a step forward, guys, we're going to have that conversation about what we're doing on defense, right? We're going to have that conversation. Mr. Crashout says, we got guys on the defensive line that can play ball. Just got to see it in live game, not scrimmage. Well, again, Crashout, though, we're talking about bodies available, right? The bodies that are available. We're not talking about whether, like, I've got all the faith in the world Cam Ball's going to be a problem. He's gonna draw a lot of double teams. They're gonna have to push him out of the way. He's a very strong cat. I like Ian Jaffard. I love what I've heard about Montiel Soli. I think Otis, he's a freshman, right? Who knows? Maybe he'll work his way into that rotation. Kentucky is basically Chad Morris, Arkansas level right now. It's amazing how long Stoops has been there, though, right? I mean, what are they waiting on? Are they waiting on the money to level out too? Pittman, here's Petrino's playbook. always the optimist he is. Pittman can't do anything. Petrino needs to score touchdowns, and T-Will needs to get turnovers. It's that simple. Well, okay, it's that simple, but doing it in the SEC is something else entirely, though. Danny Saley. I keep saying Matia. You're right, Danny. My fault. Stoops is the definition of mediocre. John's correcting me. John, it happens, brother. Let me have just one mistake, okay? He did say a lot about Lee. Yeah, Lee got a lot of love, and he's certainly trending in the right direction. And I think defensive end, like, there's so many unknowns. If Quincy Rhodes, we've been waiting on this dude to take that leap in from his, that there's a leap every year usually for guys that are gonna, if you're talking about just like raw development, freshman or year 1 to year 2, and then there's that year 2 to year 3, and then sometimes these guys just kind of level out, like different positions level out at different times. Sometimes you do have a pretty good idea of what you got with a guy that gets 1 year under his belt. But you still, it doesn't tell the whole story. I mean, there's plenty of positions that definitely need to, they need time. They got to bake in the oven for a couple of years and then they explode. Let's see. I watched him at Troy last year. Y'all know that's my other team. Hopefully he's him this year, right? I'm not going to panic about the defense. This is from Megan. I'm not going to panic about the defense till I've seen them on the field, too many new players, but I'm going to assume that they have a better season. Yeah, having this staff back mostly intact is usually a positive. Now we know there's certainly an affordability side of that, right? Like maybe they couldn't afford to let anybody go, really, like like a Deke Adams or something. Not that they would want to. I know Deke is Sam's boy. Anyways, I have more faith in my Razorback D compared to my Dallas. Oh my goodness. It will be interesting. This is from Steven 1383. It'll be interesting to see if our D can stop scores. Bobby Petrino's offense isn't necessarily built to keep the ball away. Well, yeah, it's supposed to be explosive, right, Steven? It's supposed to be about being explosive. So, yeah, the question really is with this defense, like if they can force turnovers, which is something they're trying to do, and they were asked about that today. Our defensive coordinator was asked that today. What's going on with the lack of turnovers? And he I'm so glad he said this. He was like, well, yeah, we can't bring the quarterback to the ground, but it is something that they're working on. They're trying to, they have to get better at takeaways. This is again another area where the defense. I mean, guys, the defense is to me is where there's the most concern is with the defense. Yeah, we're hearing a lot of positive things about the offense. Absolutely, right? But that doesn't always mean it's going to translate onto the field. It could be the other way around, man. Who knows? Maybe the defense turns out to be really damn good. I'm just saying that doesn't happen very often at Arkansas. It's very rare that we have good defense here. Why do all these teams starting a new quarterback get so much preseason love? Not saying we deserve any love, but highly rated teams with new quarterbacks don't deserve it. Well, Fish, that's nothing new. I mean, it's part of it is a popularity game, but then it's also what has that coaching staff achieved? What have you done for me lately, right? And especially in this era of NIL and the portal, what have you done when you've had mass like Ole Miss? Again, I've got a lot of questions about what's going on there. There's another team that's replacing their quarterback, along with a lot of playmakers and their defensive line. Like, a lot of questions there, but they're going to give Lane Kiffin the benefit of the doubt, and they're going to assume he went and got himself a really damn good quarterback, right? But I do agree with you, especially with like the coaches poll. Courtney kind of laid it out perfectly. Like it's the SIDs that are voting in that thing, and they don't pay attention to the other schools really. The AP is probably a little bit more, at least at least the AP is going to have a better idea of the temperature of college football and who's doing what, But it's you don't know until you play, and that's fair. But again, Lane Kiffin's going to get the benefit of the doubt right now. Ole Miss is it's a top 25 program, so they're going to get the benefit of the doubt, right? So it's a good question, though. I mean, and it's fair. Ty, do you expect more man-to-man on the back end or a lot of zone? I don't know. I mean, again, I've got a lot of questions with the safeties. I'm just not sold on the on what's going on with the back end of the defense. I don't know what the answer is. I'm going to assume they're going to play zone, but I don't know. Arkansas will replace Pittman with a championship-winning coach in Orgeron in the most WTF thing ever. Yeah, Orgeron wants to get back into coaching. Oh, God. God help us. So, yeah, and again, it goes back to whether or not you got to prove it on the field. And I do agree with that. Hey, ever had a garage door break at the worst possible time? Yeah, we've been there. That's why Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company, is the go-to company for garage door repair in Little Rock and all of Central Arkansas. They offer same-day emergency service, and they fix everything from busted springs to brand new installs. These guys show up fast, get the job done right, and they actually stand by their work. So don't wait around. Call Direct Service Overhead today at 501-244-3667 or check them out on directserviceoverhead.com. Your garage door will thank you kindly. Let's listen in. This was we're going to shift over to the offense just here for a minute. Let's listen to Fernando Carmona. I cut some things up here, so I think it's only a few minutes long. I'm sure we might pause it a little bit here and there, but let's listen to what he had to say and let's point some things out.
But if not, maybe throughout the entire fall, what have you seen from Phillip Lee? Sam said he stood out today. Do you have anything that stood out to you today, or just throughout this fall, how has he kind of been emerging?
Yeah, all fall he's just been slowly climbing. I want to say like he might have started off with threes, and he just kind of worked his way up to the ones, and he's been just putting it in day by day, putting in that work, and just getting a lot better. Really good pass rusher, but then even showing up in the run game, he's really came along a long way, and just seeing that day by day progress has been really cool to see. He works really hard, and he's gonna be a really big help for us this year. Yeah, it's everything. Coach Pittman talks.
Okay, so there was that Phillip Lee talk. There's Carmona letting you know. Yeah, he started with the threes. In fact, I mean, he kind of had to work his way into the threes, and he's now moved up with the twos, and he could make a splash. Let's see what he says about turnovers here.
About it all the time before games is we got to win the turnover battle, and when we win the turnover battle, we usually win games. And so that's been a huge point of emphasis, and it goes with all 11 players. Offensive line has a part in the ball protection and protecting the quarterback, making sure he has time. Talon making the right reads, and the running backs and wide receivers holding on to the ball. So it's all 11 of us working as one, protecting the ball, and I think we've really been keyed in on, we're going to take care of the rock and we're going to score touchdowns every time.
This is a good one here. This is a good part. What he says about the offense. Pay attention.
Been in here since you were last, and he told us, I think he used the term very much better offensively this year. What is your take overall on the offense? Can y'all be more productive?
Yeah, we are way ahead where we were last year, and I think it starts with Talon Green and his decision making, and then it kind of goes down to the offense line of giving time for Talon, and then from there, I have ultimate trust in the wide receivers that we have in our tight ends, and it just kind of it obviously starts up front, and then Talon taking care of the right reads, and we're a lot better. I really don't know exactly what to pinpoint it. Maybe the leadership, maybe us coming back for the second year, but yeah, it's exciting offense. You guys are going to really enjoy it.
Out there with the ones today, what was the most frequent combination of guys at right guard and right tackle that you were working with today?
I know we had Kobe out there, Kobe and E, and then Kobe and Shaq, I think, got a little bit of burn too. So just them two, they've been battling it out on that side, and we have a really good offensive line. And, I have ultimate confidence whoever we put on that right side that they're going to hold it down and play great ball.
Who stood out to you from the right side today?
I like E. I like E and Shaq a lot. E brings a lot of leadership. Older guy, older cat, knows the playbook. And so he has, just kind of that older maturity. And then Shaq is, that big presence that he brings there. He has those big paws. And when he puts them on you, you can't really go anywhere. So they both have their things that they do good at. And they both have some things that they can work on. But I think whoever we put out there, you're going to like the product.
A lot of your scoring drives last year were kind of, long drives and punched it in finally. It seems like this year, based on what we're hearing and stuff, you have a lot of guys who can big explosive plays score. What does that do for, especially like the linemen, just having those type of playmakers?
Yeah, we as offensive linemen, we love explosive plays. So that's, you get out there and when you could go a 60-yard pass or we had a 90-yard run today, like that's stuff like that just kind of gives you that extra win of like, all right, you know what, we're off the field a little bit sooner, we get a little bit more water, a little bit more wind. So it does a lot for the offensive line, and I think that's just kind of Petrino's offense is he wants explosive plays, he wants big-time plays, and it helps the offensive line and then just helps the confidence of everyone around on the offense.
What happened to
Okay, this part right here. This might have something to do with Petrino talking about Green identifying the defenses better. Listen to what Carmona says here when asked.
get y'all? I think Kyle said it was 91 yards on that run. What happened to get y'all back to the 9-yard line, and what kind of play was it to spring him?
Yeah, so I think Devin Bale punted it, great punt like he always does. So, it was kind of one of those things where we got out there and we're like, Mike, we need a big one right now. And so we got into the line of scrimmage, and it was a pass play. And then Talon saw some type of blitz, interior blitz, checked it to a run. Caden made the right call on to how to pick it up. And from there, Mike just hit that hole. And that's the thing with Mike is when he gets that ball, there's no real he's just hitting the hole. He's not really thinking. He's hitting the hole as hard as he can, and he's making that play. And he hit it for 91, and I don't know if he got touched, but it was all thanks to Talon looking at the defense, diagnosing that we got interior pressure, and from there, Caden made the right call, and we blocked it up, and Mike did his job.
Oh, my goodness. If that doesn't make you feel pretty good, I don't know what does. So Green approaches the line of scrimmage, sees the defense, and he checks out of the pass play. Now, I'm not saying he didn't do that last year, but it is good to hear them talk about it, and it resulted in a big play. Yes, it happened against the twos. I don't know how many times. What happened against the second-team defense? Yeah, okay, cool, whatever. We know that they say they've got depth in the secondary and they got depth at linebacker. There's several of these linebackers I've been told. Well, I say several. There's a couple that could run with the ones. And there's some pieces on that defensive line. They got some strength. They got some raw strength. They got a little bit of experience underneath them. While it is valid that it was against the twos, a 91-yard run because of a Green check, that has more to do with just the personnel on the defensive line. That has more to do with the personnel on defense. Period. That's Green recognizing something and that play resulting in a big run. I don't know if he would have done that against the ones. I have no clue, but I like to hear that. I like to hear that Green recognized something and made the play. He talked about Phillip Lee there for a little bit. What was the other thing that he mentioned? Hold on.
But if not, maybe throughout the
I'm going to mute it. There was something working on turnovers, the offense being better. He kind of talked about that. Oh, the right side of the line of scrimmage. Yeah, I think we're getting to a point now where we've got a better understanding as to what's going on over there. Branham and Harris. Now, I've nothing against Harris, okay? I've been a little skeptical. Of Harris. I don't know how many years now. This is like the second, third year in a row, I think, where we've heard great things about Harris, how he's got so much potential, and then he gives up a bunch of hurries, sacks, pretty decent run blocker. But so I'm believe it when I see it when it comes to Harris. I hope he's improved. I hope that's his natural spot over there, just like, Carmona moving over to the left guard spot. But I do feel like, strangely enough, like there is quality depth on the offensive line, or at least they feel, at least from what the coaching staff, like Pittman seems pretty comfortable with his offensive line. Bobby Petrino seems pretty comfortable with his offensive line. Carmona seems very positive with his fellow big uglies up on that offensive line. That's what the coaches used to call us. 20-something years ago, the big uglies. He seems pretty comfortable with who he's got to his left to do his right. And there's still like this. I still think there's a little bit of an ongoing battle on that right side, but for the most part, I think we have a pretty good idea of what's going on over there. That's very good to see. Monty looks like Deebo Samuel from what I've seen. Monty looks like a monster. I mean, Monty, listen, I'm trying not to drink too much of the Kool-Aid when it comes to the receivers, because again, we've been through this before where it's like, oh my God, this guy looks great. This guy looks great. Look at the tight ends. He's making plays. He just turned 30. He's a sophomore, and he's looking. I mean, he ran with the ones in both scrimmages. Sometimes when you're talking about the offense, well, anything in general when it comes to Razorback or college athletics for the most part, but sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire. And I feel like that's kind of, again, going back to that, well, he did it against the twos, talking about the 91-yard run. Again, how often did we talk about this last year? How often, again, you'll have to refresh me. Maybe there were some big plays, but it seems like every single time we hear from the offense, and I know they're not going to come out and say we suck. Of course they're not. No, they're not going to do that. They're not going to come out and, oh, yeah. But Pittman and Petrino, by the way, doesn't beat around the bush really. When it comes to talking about his players, is he always upfront and honest about everything? Of course not. But he's going to tell you how he feels about his guys. You saw how big his smile was with his offense. We're hearing about the explosions on offense. We're hearing about these big plays. Now, this could be a sign that the defense is in deep shit. That could also be true. But again, I feel like I'm going to say it again because it's in the title of this video. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Green's sounding pretty good. Monty Harrison's making big play after big play again. I am a believe it when I see it on him too. And the same with Harris. Again, I can be skeptical and optimistic at the same time because not everything's just black and white. There's a lot of gray in between. There's certainly some components to this offense that seem pretty damn good to me. And Mike Washington's been one of them. Apparently, Braylon Russell had a good day, too. He had a 30, 35, or 38-yard run. We're not hearing much about the other backs. Again, it could just be that when I get feedback on anything, it's, I don't always get all the detail. And, yeah, I get screenshots and stuff from friends asking me questions about the same topic. Like, why aren't we hearing more about the threes? What's going on there? It doesn't sound like much is going on there as far as guys getting better. I'll say, well, yeah, because they're moving up the depth chart. I mean, look at Crutchfield. Crutchfield went from spring camp looking like, oh my God, I don't know, this dude, he might have a year where he doesn't see the field. And now look, he's worked his way up the depth chart. He's running with the twos or he has anyways in fall camp. So yeah, I think there is some level of truth to this offense might be more explosive. Now, the question, like we asked, what was that, last week or week before last, are they going to outscore? Are they going to put more points on the board compared to what they did a year ago? That schedule was not as tough as this one. Your non-con, say whatever you want about Memphis, and again, I've got thoughts there, and we'll go into it probably next week. But you still got to go there. You got to play them on the road, and that's a big deal for them. Arkansas State, I don't buy that their players really care about this, but their coaches are going to make them care about it, right? They're going to talk about this, how long it's been since they've played. I didn't even know they'd ever played before, but according to Pittman at the Little Rock Touchdown Club, they had played like 90-something years ago. I had no clue. So that will be a big game for them as well. I'm sure they'll hype it up, and A-State will talk shit on Twitter, and they're going to make this look like something. I don't know that the players really care, but I could be wrong. But this is a tough schedule. So I don't know. We're going to see this like, yeah, they're better, but then so is the schedule. And two things can be true at once, right? Let me read these super chats really quick. Let's be honest. The D doesn't have far to hit from bottom. Let's be honest, the D doesn't have far to hit bottom from last year. Yeah, they weren't. Their secondary was certainly a problem. They seem to believe the JUCO corner and the kid from Oklahoma, the size that they have in the secondary. Again, I'll go back to what I said. Size only takes you so far. You've got to have the natural raw ability to just play the position. You got to have some talent in this league. You can't just be tall. You can't just be fast. There's so much more to playing that position, having your head on a swivel, right? You're lined up across potential first, second, and third round draft picks every week. So, and that's true for every position, by the way, in the SEC, for the most part. Just joined Patreon. Hey, all right. I'll give you a shout out here in a second if I can pull that up. Thank you for joining Patreon. Autographed cards. We announced them. Maybe I'll show those off here in a little bit if you're too late for it. But legendary status, you get a shot at an autographed card. Michael Kerper says, "Hey Ty, check out my new YouTube profile picture." I can't really make out what it is, but I'm sure it's a meme. I'm sure it's me in AI. I can't. It's so small on my screen, but yeah. What's up, Unbiased? How you doing, man? What up, Ty? Defense success will depend on the greatness of the linebacker room, and I don't disagree. Sometimes you can make up deficiencies with, even with the defensive line when you're as deep as Arkansas is at linebacker, right? When you've got some skillful safeties who can creep up and help you out in the box a little bit against the run or with plays out in the flats, like screen plays and whatnot and draws. But sometimes, and that is fair. I mean, there's been, again, let's think of it like this. Now, again, Petrino did have some pretty good defensive ends and some pretty good defensive players when he was head coach here, but Willie Robinson was awful. His defenses were terrible. We called it bend, don't break. It was really bend and break a lot is what that defense was. But they were pretty good at causing turnovers, which is what they're working on. So hopefully we see more strip sacks, right? Hopefully we see the ball on the field for the other team, not Arkansas, right? Maybe that happens. But they weren't good, and yet they still won how many games his last 2 years, 2010 and 2011? And the SEC was pretty damn difficult then too. Now, I would still put the schedule up against any schedule they've ever played. That's the bummer about all this. Like, it's all this improvement, and they still got to get around the schedule. However, there are a lot of new quarterbacks that Arkansas is up against. Guys that are replacing some really big pieces to some teams. You got the Notre Dame quarterback situation. Now that's that's an interesting one. But yeah, I think we might actually have top half of the SEC O-line this season. Carmona and Robinson on that left side. And by the way, they're 3 deep at center. Listen, man, I don't ever recall Arkansas being 3 deep at center ever. And that's why I say, and by the way, those guys can play in different positions in the interior. It's like, I wish they had this kind of depth on the defensive line, right? Like center, you're going to have Kittler. Again, this goes back to leverage, right? He's not a 6'7". You don't have 6'7" interior guys. They're 6'5" or smaller, and 6'5" is kind of pushing it. And there's been some 6'6" guys. I'm not saying they don't exist. They're typically a little bit lower to the earth, right? I was the shortest offensive lineman at Fayetteville going into my junior year, and they had me listed at like 6'3", I think 285, or no, it might have been my sophomore year. I can't remember, but I was the shortest player among the starting 5 offensive linemen for the sophomore team. I didn't start very often, by the way. I only started like 4 games. It's because our starting center missed practice and he got in trouble. I was very average. I was typically the slowest offensive lineman. I got stronger, unfortunately, but by then I was already kind of moving on. But Cash Courtney, so Caden Kittler, Cash Courtney, Brooks Edmondson, and they feel good about all 3 of them. All 3 of these guys, by the way, are 6'4" or smaller or shorter. One of them's not even 290. Courtney's at 6'4". I think he's still at 285. And then at right guard, you're going to have Branham, 6'4", 6'5", and Blackstock's kind of in that mix. I don't know what – again, there's some questions about what's going on behind those 2 at the guard spot if they end up having to move Harris back over there and maybe they switch Shaq McRoy at starting right tackle. Shaq McRoy 6'8", 344 is going to back up Harris, and then you got Bubba Craig in the mix. I can remember them being pretty high on Bubba Craig, and he's a third-year guy, 6'8", 300 pounds, and I don't know that he's once cracked the two deep. But a lot of good going on as far as, like, you feel better about the defensive line, and it's crazy because it actually starts at the center position for Arkansas. You know, it's kind of like back in the day when you had Swanson, Jonathan Luigs. You remember those guys? Like, you felt good, like the next guy up. Unfortunately, in the portal era, nothing's guaranteed anymore. But you do feel good about what's happening at center. Will it be a drop-off from Kittler to the next guy? Maybe a little bit. That's always the question. How big is that gap between the number one guy and the number two guy, all the way back to the three guy? Don't forget about Blake Cherry. I know they're high on Blake Cherry. My goodness. True freshman. Him and Brant. I mean, are you kidding me, dude? Two freshmen that could also be a sign of maybe they're not that great. Maybe the depth isn't that high, but or that great rather. But from what I understand, they're big on these freshmen. And I can remember when they got Cash Courtney, all these guys, I'd heard really good things from people who pay attention to recruiting in and out of state. So it looks like they're paying off. Like, for once, we're seeing these guys that came in with I shouldn't say a lot of hype, but they came in with some folks telling me, yeah, no, these guys are probably going to push for 2 and 3 deep year one, and they're doing that. And that's great. But again, you've got Cash Courtney, who could end up being the backup behind Kittler, who's a true freshman, ahead of Brooks Edmondson, who's a fourth-year guy. Oh, I'm ready, y'all. I'm so ready. I am so ready for the football season. Make sure you guys like, share, hit the subscribe button. Appreciate the super chats, by the way. I think I got them all. Take the poll. We're still going, baby. We're going strong. Defense will be better. 56% of you say yes. Yes, Ty. It will be better. I'm Batman. If the O-line is better, then the offense will be better. Yeah. Boy, that's an ongoing issue. That's one of the things about Pittman that just kind of drives you crazy, isn't it? How? Why are they not better? Maybe this year they finally back it up. Let's not get it twisted. 21, they weren't that bad. But a lot of that probably had to do with Kendall Briles, kind of covering up your deficiencies, right? Heartbreak Hawk says, me too. Man, we're all pumped. I'm ready, dude. I'm ready. You'd be a giant on the 64 championship team. Well, I'm more like a 6'2". You know how these media guides, they like to pump these players up. I would have been like 6'2", probably 260, 270 maybe. That's right. Hit the like button. What's up, C-Love? Hope you guys are doing well. Hey, if I got a mod in here, and we got some new mods in chat. Kerper is a new mod in chat. He's a mod he's actually our administrator in Discord, Tusk Talk with Ty Discord. So shout out to him. The other Mike, I'm not sure if he's in here right now. Austin should be I know he's not in here, but he's the other mod. With a tougher schedule this year, is it possible the D, quote unquote, better, but still gives up more? I'm lurking, says the other Mike. Again, it kind of goes back to what we said about the offense, right? Like, you could be better. You feel like the talent is better. One of the ways you could tell, I mean, it's how many of these cats get drafted, right? Like, okay, they actually had better personnel, but how many of these guys get drafted? That kind of gives you an idea of, wow, we actually had more pieces than we thought. And typically, then the blaming goes on the coaching staff for not being better, right? I mean, look at Teslaw, for example. Teslaw's a third-round draft pick, who, by the way, is killing it with the Lions. Congrats to him. He's, oh, my. Teslaw could be a weapon in that Lions offense. Really happy for him. Did you guys see Hudson Clark making plays? He's making plays trying to make that cut. Hey, I got love for the lurkers too, though. If you're a lurker, say hi in chat. Let's go. We got some more. There's so much more to talk about here. We have Pittman. I don't know how much of this we want to go over, but he talks about the second scrimmage. We kind of got some good pieces from Carmona. I may fast forward some of this, but let's listen to what Pittman says.
Is there any thoughts on Monte that, like, he shouldn't be doing like what he's doing, like he's 30 years old and like, is my eyes deceiving me, all this kind of stuff?
Trey Biddy, who Well, he asked the right questions. I love that that's a great question. Talking about him.
I'm so happy for him. Guys, I mean, 29 years old, you go back as a freshman in high school and you're not getting a lot of game time and all that. And you're coming from a professional situation in baseball. Hard, I would assume would be very hard. And he just kept fighting, kept working. And now, I mean, he's one of those guys that you want to look at, guy you want to go to, like an Armstrong was a year ago. He really is a guy that has really come on. So I'm real proud of him. He turned 30, last week. I think it was last week. And, I think it's very, very hard. It's obviously his physique, his ability, and how much shape he's in is why I think he's able to do it.
Following up on that, it seems like.
And I know you guys want tougher questions on Sam. I didn't cut it in here, but there was a question I don't think that was meant to be like a criticism of Sam, but it was about, the enjoyment or the hype around Bobby coming back and then year 6 of Sam, the way he put it, God bless him. All right. It's sometimes maybe you just forget. We've all been there. The question was not, I don't think it was meant to be a skepticism of Sam. I didn't actually include it in the cut. Kind of wish I had, but I'm kind of glad I didn't at the same time. I don't want to put the guy on the spot, but the question wasn't meant to be critical of Sam. But again, it was something like, we're excited about, or fans are excited about year 2 of Bobby, but year 6 of Sam, it's a little bit different flavor or whatever. I don't remember the exact quote, but I do agree that like sometimes, we could probably get harder on the questions, but I don't know what kind of answers you're really going to get. And I do feel like the media, a couple of years ago, the topic of discussion was his job security. And they kept asking him, and he kept getting annoyed with it. And so I get it, man. I get it. Fans want tougher questions, but I do like the line of questioning and what they do here. And I like this question about the chemistry. Listen to what he says here.
Like through fall camp, Taylon's best chemistry has been with Omega and Raylan, but today it was CJ and Monte. I mean, how good is that to see the development there with that chemistry?
Well, as you well know, we're trying to continue to build confidence in a quarterback with whomever. And I'll go back this week. Is a really good question because, CJ this week he's made a lot of plays at practice, did today. Sharp's been out. So we've been able to move CJ some into slot as well. But you look at that, and Andy Jean's out. So someone has to step up. And I think, we've found – that are healthy right now, 5 to 7 guys, and Jalen Brown made some plays this week. Rohan Jones is another guy that yesterday I felt like had his best practice production wise and catching difficult catches and all that. So I think we're getting more people. I think that's your point as well, because it was Omega and Sharp for so long, and it still is Omega, but we're adding into that, which is really going to help us and keep fresh guys on the field that have confidence, and as important, we have confidence in them. Offensively, no, I don't think so. I think we'll be ready to roll. Defensively,
this is about injuries here. I'm just gonna we're gonna move it forward here. This is what Sam knows about the offense here. If I can pinpoint it.
Recover.
But the offense or the injuries, basically David Oki is the only guy. Everyone else should be ready to go, it sounds like. And the question was asked about just the 2 deep. There might be some guys that are, that are in the 3s or whatever. But here he is on I'll just let him talk about it.
Offensively, what were you able to learn more about Cam Shanks?
I think we can run the ball, so learning-wise, I think it goes back over here to we're learning we have a pretty dang good group of wideouts, and we're learning Platt can get open. Rohan Jones can do some. Polska can do, both. We're learning a little bit more about our football team, and just because somebody was this way last year, good or bad, doesn't make him the same player. He can either be better or he can be worse. And so we're learning those things about our team a little bit more and in tough situations. And I feel really good about the team. I feel great about our punting, our kicking, our returners. It's really good to have Shanks back. I think our special teams are going to add really a lot of value to us. So we're learning all that about our football team. But luckily we're learning in a good way that how we feel about our team.
Whenever we talked to Ronnie, he said that y'all needed more yards after catch this year than last year. Is that something that you're noticing in scrimmages, that guys are getting, those explosive plays after the catch?
Well, today there was obviously a lot of explosives. Now you got to put it in check. It's not, we weren't good on good like we were last week. But if you ask us, the main thing we needed to get fixed from the scrimmage last week was explosive plays offensively. For the defense, we gave up too many, which you're happy on the other side because guys are breaking tackles and all that. So in the two scrimmages that we've had a ton of explosive plays offensively. So that means they're either running by people or making them miss.
So and we'll probably the last bit of Sam here will be about Antonio Jordan, I'm pretty sure. Again, they're going into the explosiveness. I don't ever recall them going this deep into the explosiveness of the offense last year. I mean, they did say, we're going to score some points. There was that typical kind of coach speak, yeah. You don't expect him to come out and shit all over the offense, okay? I get that. But listening to as many of these as I have, I've been in on the Zoom calls, I've listened to Sam, Petrino, anyone who remembers him back in the day, this is not a guy that really is going to feed you bullshit. Coach speak, yeah, and maybe there's a little bit of bullshit in there, but it's not full on. It's not a full-on cow patty, right? Let's let him talk about Antonio Jordan. I know you guys are curious.
When camp first started, we asked you a lot about Antonio Jordan and haven't really checked on him in a little bit. Just how do you feel like he's kind of kept it up throughout camp, and where do you feel like he's at?
I think, like anybody at that age, some you hit a little bit of a wall, either it be the learning, the playbook, all that stuff, or just the rigors of every day, 14 hours a day or whatever it is. It's a lot, whatever the rules say. And but saying that, I think he's as elite as we thought he was before. Once you start making these great catches, you want to make it every single time, and he is human. But he's very, very good, and I think he's going to be an elite player in our league, not just for the university, but in our league, and I'm really pleased with him.
There you go. So Antonio Jordan, where he wrapped it up there, well, for our video anyways, this is kind of what I expected, right? Every time you get some incredible freshman that comes in, there's that thing, and I've just always called it the freshman wall. They might come in, they look the part on video, they're showing you the propaganda on as they should. 100% they should be doing that. Hogs Plus ought to be running stuff on Jordan and all these guys. Crutchfield climbing the depth chart. I think they ought to do more. Whoever's in charge of their social media, you need to be doing more. Because you need to do everything you can. I'm not saying that to say that they're good. I'm saying that for their own sake. Let's create a little bit of excitement here, okay? And they're doing a pretty good job. They did release some clips, some little short clips. I think that was earlier today or yesterday. But Antonio Jordan has hit the freshman wall, and this is why I was telling some of you guys, hold on, he's not a Heisman contender yet. Not that Arkansas has a lot of those over the years. Only one guy has made that trip to New York, and he did it twice. Unfortunately, couldn't bring home the hardware. But let's take this week to week. He's hit that freshman wall. Now let's see how he recovers. Let's see. And I'm sure it's up here. I'm sure it's just the X's and O's. It's not simple for a freshman to walk in and just be great, right? I don't remember any of, Joe Adams, Jarius Wright, and we always have to go back to those guys because that was just an incredible crop of players that you pick up out of Warren and Central Arkansas. But I don't recall any of them having, 60 catches their freshman year. They had an impact. What did Jarius Wright, I think, was it Wright that had like 35 catches or something as a freshman, or was that Joe Adams? They had an impact, and I think that's what he can do. And that's a very good sign, assuming he could do it. That's a very good sign that this cat could be something special in this Petrino offense, maybe in any offense. He is an athlete. All I heard about him at Warren, from the people who saw him play, this dude is an athlete. And I told you guys then, he's not camping. I don't know why people keep asking that question. Why didn't he have more stars? I said this when he was at Warren. He doesn't camp. He's not camping so far, and he ended up not camping. Been saying that for like a year with him. And I get it. Like, not everyone can watch everything I do. I understand that. But, like, I wasn't the only one saying that, by the way. There are plenty of other people talking about that. Had he camped, no doubt in my mind that dude would have been a 4-star. I'm not going to go out and say 5-star. There's only so many of those every year. But he was a big-time player out of Warren, and he hit a wall, and now let's see how he recovers. And I really think he's going to have an impact. He could be a 25-plus catch guy as a freshman. Or, listen, I could also see it being the other way around with him. It could be a redshirt year because of how much they have in the wide receiver room, and that's with Ishmael Cece not playing, with him being out. Who was it? Sharp? Was it Sharp or Shanks? One of the two has missed a little bit of time. There's been a couple of other receivers that have missed some time. Then of course you got the 30-year-old sophomore that we were just talking about, Monty Harrison. But it's huge that he even made, like him making the 3 deep. I was like, okay. And then it turned out he was working with the 2s. Great stuff. The future is bright at certain positions. I guess the question is, can they put it all together, once the lights come on? Well, not that you're not playing very many games under the lights this year, but, once you're in that stadium and you've got someone else across the field that isn't, your teammate, what happens? The saying is when the lights come on, so we can stick with that. But I like Antonio Jordan a lot, and I've liked him since he was at Warren. There's still questions though. Can he overcome that? And again, with the rest of the receivers, there's still a lot of questions too. We don't know really. Again, this could be a sign that the secondary is really just shitty. That is true, because I can already hear someone rage typing that as we speak, as the live, or somewhere on Facebook or whatever, or after the live, where people come out and they get all over me because I'm, maybe I'm being too optimistic about one thing and not pessimistic about something else. But that could be the case where this, the secondary is just that bad, and that could be real. We're going to find out. Not game one. You better not find out where you're at game one. I mean, if you're learning anything, it ought to be that, we could still beat the hell out of teams that are not in the same, they're not on our level. It's Crutchfield first year in the system as well, though. I don't know if you're talking to me or someone in chat, but yeah, I am aware. He's also a redshirt freshman too. Oh, you're responding to Camo Gang. Oh, Crutch sounds like a waste of talent. Sad for real. Camo. God, dude. Do you get paid? Do you have like a sponsor? Does someone pay you to come in here and just be like the most pessimistic person of all time? You're going to twist everything into something negative? Come on, dude. Give me something. I don't have faith in the defensive line, says Christopher Cox. What's up, Christopher? Hope you're doing well, man. A lot of questions there too, right? A lot of questions. Make sure you guys like the live show here. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you're new, and hit the notification bell. That way you know as soon as I go live. By the way, Tusk Talk with Ty is back on Facebook. It's open for anybody to post. Anybody can post in the Tusk Talk. It's an open group. Just follow the rules. Rules is rules, and be respectful of one another and have fun over there. Also join the Discord. As long as you're not super duper pessimistic all the time, spamming that stuff in Discord, you ought to be just fine. Camo will be in here after the first loss, saying Sam is hiding talent by not playing Crutchfield. Oh no! Do you think so? You think so? Wasting his talent. Camo, some guys just take a little while. Some guys just take a couple years. Sometimes those stars just melt away when you get on campus. Sometimes you don't fit the offense. Sometimes it is the playbook that you're just trying to figure out. He has raw talent. He's just got to figure out the rest of it. He's literally worked his way into, and he's rotated with a little bit with the two deep. I don't know if you caught that. We've talked about that multiple times. But he has worked his way into the two deep. My God, someone's got a chainsaw out. Oh, man. My neighbor's got a chainsaw, and it sounds like he's right outside my door. I'm not watching the game. Golly, please, thank you for not. You spare us, Camo. My God, I swear, someone is sponsoring this dude to come in here and just say the most negative shit. Not a real fan identified. Yeah, if you're that miserable from watching anything, you just probably need to put the remote down. I don't know, man. Camo, you're an OG in here, but you are a super pessimistic guy. I use Monty Harrison as a measuring stick for Antonio Jordan. They're basically the same build, and Harrison didn't do nothing last year as a senior. Wow, that is a mistake. Well, there's some weird takes. Some of y'all have some weird takes. First off, they're different ages, which matters. Monty Harrison hadn't played football in how long? I mean, oh, man. Look, he could, he could get redshirted. Like I said, that could happen, and that's okay. Read my take, Ty. What'd you say, Paul? I do think this offense has gotten better and is that damn good, hitting their stride in fall camp, as some would say. Yeah, I think you could be right. I wonder if Gruden will be back into coaching. Oh man, are we going back into the Gruden stuff? Listen, never say never. I don't know. Golly, I think like Eric Musselman's ghost, Camo, and Petrino's playbook are the same people who were probably mad about Banana Ball being at the at Baum Stadium. Like they were probably the same people that were just raging on Twitter. What an absolute clown show that was for people to be bashing Hunter over that. He's doing something to generate something at Baum Stadium in the month of August. I mean, how many fans showed up for that? And people were, find happiness somewhere, people. My God, I'm going to applaud Hunter for doing that. Like, hey, cool. Hillis got to bat. I mean, that was cool. People enjoyed it, had a good time. You're allowed to be miserable, but dear God, trying to drag everyone else down with you is just. Slater says it was sold out. I think that's probably right. And I'm going to assume Slater, if that's my brother-in-law, I wonder if he went and he took my nephew with him, because I think that would have been cool. What's up, Slater? Hope you're doing well, man. Yeah, there's just some people that want to be miserable. They're upset about Hunter still being here and Sam still being the head coach, so now everything is bad. Everything is bad. Like, relax. I don't know. Go crack open a bottle of Jack Daniels or something. My God. Ty, I love Cal. You do, Eric Musselman's ghost. I will be fair. You do like Cal. That is fair. I'm not cheering for Pittman. Well, I want him to win. I mean, I'm just, again, I will never root for Arkansas to lose. I will never do that. I just won't do it. And no ticket. Tickets were $350? Oh, man. Holy cow. I didn't know they were that much. And I was going to go to the fan day, and I'd sat here and told you guys last week I was going to go, and then I just fell behind on the day, and I couldn't go. I wonder if any of you guys went, and if you went, if you had a good time, if you got any autographs. Camo's a football extremist. To be fair, like there's some of these guys, like, it is, I get it. It is the Sam Pittman effect. Like, they kept Sam. I agree. I wasn't a big fan of that. I was right there with him. I agree. Like, I don't think that this is the right move, but I guess financials say something else. Some of y'all need to feel the warmth. Oh, Lord. I can't read that. Slater says, yep, I tried to sneak that one through the wife. Oh, my goodness. That's bandwagon behavior to root for a Hall of Fame coach compared. Is this a response to somebody else, or did I mean, come on, bro. You're the definition of a bandwagon. Oh, he's talking to Ghost. Man. Well, now we've got the pessimist fighting each other now in live chat. My gosh. Take hold. Yeah, don't forget. Oh man, week 0 is upon us. Week 0 is oh man, it feels so good, doesn't it? Doesn't it just feel amazing? I know you guys are digging it. Come on now. Even though there's not great, Iowa State, Kansas State, who cares? Those are 2 ranked opponents, I guess. KSU favored at -3. Other than that, not a lot going on as far as good matchups. Fresno State's going to go to Kansas. I might watch Kansas, see what they're up to. Man, do y'all tell me do you hear that chainsaw? I got neighbors that are like, they'll be out, they might be mowing their yard at like 9:30 at night. It's just wild. It's a good thing I don't have to get up early and take the kids to school or anything. And then so that's the 23rd. Saturday the 23rd, Iowa State at Kansas State. Yes, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Oh, this offseason was the most brutal. It was the most brutal offseason. We even had baseball carry us a little bit into June, a little bit further into June, right? And I'm so excited it's here, man. We're going to have some predictions up for Iowa State, Kansas State, I'm sure. We're going to have our casino prediction up this weekend. It feels so good. Don't forget to sign up for Patreon, even if you're a negative, pessimistic fan. I don't know. Maybe join Patreon. Maybe you'll learn to love yourself again. I don't know. Some of y'all are sponsored to come in here. I just know you are. Come in here and just be the most negative people. Oh, it is in Ireland. You're right. Yeah, and it's a weird. You're right. My bad. It's not at Kent. You're right. It's in Dublin. It's in Dublin. 11 a.m. on the 23rd. I'm not gonna lie. I despise if they take games out of the States. I don't like it when the NFL does it. Canada's one thing, right? Or maybe if you're going a little bit south of the border, even then I'm like, keep them in the States. Fans want to go to that, I mean, Kansas State thinks this is their year. I mean, it is the Big 12. They'll probably win that, but that is the 23rd. The 28th, that'll be the following Thursday, and I'm not seeing – we talked about this last week. Nebraska's at Cincy. Miami of Ohio is going to Wisconsin. There's just not very many like that, week 0 and then week 1. Boise State at South Florida. That's a hell of a trip. Boise's at 6.5. And then, of course, the 30th. The 30th is when we really gets, here we go, baby. It'll be here before you know it. Syracuse at Tennessee. I'm very curious about that matchup. Probably, of course, the game of the weekend's Texas and Ohio State in Columbus. Pull up to the games. I'll buy y'all a beer. It's just Petrino's playbook. Well, there's that, I guess. Ty, what if one year we get chosen for the Ireland? I'll hate it. And by the way, I'm Scottish anyways. That's my mom's side of the family. They're all Scottish, so don't really care if it's in Ireland. If you're going to do it anywhere. But no, I won't like it. No, don't go overseas. Keep it here in the States. Keep it in Fayetteville, for the love of God. Like Sam Pittman said about the Arkansas State game. Megan says, see you October 25th. Yeah, we've got the meetup. If you go to our Discord, we have a meetup sheet. If you plan on going to that game, and Megan says, we'll see you on the 25th. I don't like that she called me Kyler. I'm not digging that, though, Megan. Comments were fun tonight, weren't they? Comments were fun. You guys cracked me up. Yeah, so I think we've kind of basically covered it. I don't know. Let me look on my screen. Is there anything on my screen that I missed? D-line. Yeah, we kind of covered all this. Carmona and Pittman, what they had to say. We get Petrino tomorrow. I may go live tomorrow if I don't know that Petrino's going to give us anything that we haven't already heard. Who knows? You know me. I'll play it by ear. If I go live, just make sure you're subscribed and you hit the notification bell and we can react together. Oh, she's talking to the actual Kyler. Oh, I didn't know he was in chat. My bad. I thought that was a shot at me. Yeah, I made it. Mr. Volcano says, do your homework. You mess up on a name or you mess up on a name and you apparently don't do your homework, except I've done quite a bit of homework. Mistakes happen, Mr. Volcano. Let it go. Where was I? Where was the... Yeah, don't forget the YouTube post live question. The post live question, which is defense will be better in 2025. Tell me why it will, or tell me why it won't, or you can just say, just make sure you reference what I'm asking. Don't just say yes. But defense will be better in 2025. Yes or no? And I'd love to hear from you as to why. The rich guy with the YouTube burners. Oh, okay. Petrino's playbook is Kyler. I didn't know that. All right. News to me. Yeah, I think we basically covered it all. We covered every single bit of it, including my mistakes. God, I hope these people can forgive me. Don't think we'll do a Discord live tonight. Don't think we will. I'm gonna, like I always do. I wait to eat dinner till after I'm done here. My wife cooked some fried chicken, and I want to go eat that, and then take a shower and go to bed, and get up in the morning, take the kiddos to school. But again, we get Petrino tomorrow. I wanted to pull up really quick what we have for the rest of the weekend. We know that next weekend they're not gonna bring, so it's gonna be like a scrimmage, but not a scrimmage. Maybe Petrino will provide us with a little bit more. I think it's they're not gonna tackle to the ground, and maybe the threes will, but it doesn't sound like they're gonna let the ones and twos tackle to the ground next weekend. So they will be doing that on Saturday. Where is my schedule? Here we go. Where are we? Today's the 18th. So the 19th, yeah, we get Petrino. We're supposed to get Petrino tomorrow. We're going to get our very first Sam Pittman live on the 20th. And let's see. No media availability for the 23rd. It's not noted that they're doing anything on their official fall camp schedule sheet, but we know that they don't always stick to that. And then we're going to get Pittman to the media on the 25th, which we know that's install. You're full into you're going into getting prepared for Alabama A&M, which is a 3:15 kickoff. Yeah, there's no media availability again this year. Once again, the university is doing what everybody else does. They're closing off practice. They're limiting access. Here we go. Not a fan of this at all. I don't care that other schools do this. They've been doing it for several years. I don't give a damn. You're cutting off fan access, and I don't like it. I don't care. It has nothing to do with me. I still get Zoom links. Like, I could still go into the Zoom links. They cut me off back in spring. That's fine. But then they closed off some other people, and they're limiting the amount of media people that can even go, the people that are actually credentialed and able to go. I don't like the route the university is taking here. And I know that's like everybody else. I know some of it's secrecy. We got to be secret. That's why we won 6 games last year, because we were super secret. I hate it. I don't like it. I don't like that we're cutting off fans as much as they are. And I know some people will say, well, that means we're getting more wins. And who knows, maybe that is what's going on. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just old school and I miss the days of being able to walk up to a Houston Nut practice and watch them practice, not even being in the media. Used to do that as a kid with my dad. Arky56, if you were in chat, he'd tell you all about it. I get it. Different times, different era. We're in the age of social media and everybody's got a camera. And, you know, I understand that. But I don't like how corporate the U of A is taking that. They're taking that corporate turn, and I hate it. I really wish they could have been a little bit different. And by the way, they need all the, you know, they need people talking about them, good and bad. And I know they don't like the bad. They really don't like the bad, but they need people talking about the University of Arkansas, period. So I don't like they're cutting off access. You could give access to, I don't know, Jack loveshogs.com, who, you know, has, you know, no clout, no nothing. He's just got his phone and he wants to show up to practice. Let him go to practice and film it and talk to people about it. I just do not like how they're limiting. And again, that's not the U of A, you know, they're not the first school to do that. Plenty of schools do it. I just don't like it. It's becoming more and more, when you got ticket sales going up, it's just becoming more and more anti-fan. It really is. It's becoming more anti-fan. We're blaming the media. We've got excuses for everything, and don't like it, y'all. Not a fan. All right. Yeah, Ty Kyler was an Arkansas high school football legend. Recognize the name. Okay. Oh, there's Mr. Volcano. Fishman, I can. Oh, all right. Yeah. Classy. Very classy. Yeah, I'm ready for the season, Matt. I'm there. I'm right there with you, man. I'm ready to get this going. It'll be here before you know it. We're gonna get Petrino tomorrow. I'm sure he'll give us an update somewhere. I'd like to kind of hear where he's at with the offensive line a little bit more. You know, go into a little bit more detail tomorrow. I don't know that he's going to do that necessarily, but I'd like to hear it. I'd like to hear where he's at, how he feels about that right side of the line of scrimmage. If it's, you know, for the offense, if he feels, I'm sure he'll be, you know, optimistic about it, about what's going on there. But give us a little bit more detail. And listen, the last time he talked to us, he gave us a lot, so I'm all in. When Petrino talks, I typically I'm going to listen to it like twice. I'm gonna listen to it for the live show, and then after the live show, I'll probably watch it again to see if I missed anything, which happens from time to time. There's the link to Discord. Michael Kerper just shared it. I appreciate that. Kerper is killing it, by the way. He is crushing it, sharing the Discord, sharing the Patreon. John's been sharing the Patreon in these lives. Appreciate John Haas. And again, go check out the Facebook page. It is Tusk Talk on Facebook. Go join it. Again, just keep it classy, or you'll get booted. Yeah, I don't think Petrino's playbook wants to join, Kerper. He gave you the yawn. Anyways, I'm gonna go eat some fried chicken. Not super healthy, but you know what? I earned it with this one. I earned it. Shout out to the wife. She cooking dinner, waiting on me. So, you guys have a good night. I will. Maybe I'll be live tomorrow. Maybe I won't. Again, make sure I will stay blessed. Petrino's playbook. Thank you. Make sure you hit the notification bell. Shout out to Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company. Same-day services, quality parts, affordable outcomes. Check out the link provided for you down below. Travis Ford is the man. Runs a good business. He's a hard worker. He's my boy. Him and Tim both. Hopefully Travis pops in here soon. I'm sure we'll do a call-in show or something. We'll get him back on here. We had a new ad, too. I don't know if you guys got to see that. We're having those technical issues at the beginning. And don't forget, answer the question in the post live comment section, okay? All right. That's it. And maybe I'll see you guys tomorrow or sometime later this week. Be good and, behave yourselves.
Having trouble with your garage door? Problem solved. Call Direct Service Overhead Garage Door Company. We're your go-to team for garage door repair, new garage doors, openers, and more. We offer same-day service. We're always ready when you need us. Best of all, you can book your appointment online or talk to a live operator 24/7. No machines, no waiting. So whether it's a broken spring or a brand new garage door, trust the local experts at Direct Service Garage Doors. Call us today or visit directserviceoverhead.com.